2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, the 4th of October, and it's World Animal Day. And a big happy birthday to Susan Sarandon, Alicia Silverstone, Dakota Johnson, and Annika Rice. Sunday evening saw a massive leak of financial documents called the Pandora Papers. They're part of an investigation which was a collaboration between the BBC's Panorama, the Washington Post, the Guardian and the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. 11.9 million documents revealed that 35 current and former world leaders, including the King of Jordan, Vladimir Putin and more, have been involved in offshore financial activities. And as the Washington Post's Greg Miller explains, offshore can mean tax avoidance.
Tax havens in and of themselves are legal, but tax havens have been used over the years for illegal purposes, for hiding money from authorities, or for politicians to disguise payments that are part of corruption.
William Fitzgibbon from the ICIJ says it's important that journalists shine a spotlight on these potentially shady dealings.
So while it might not be illegal in every case, it's highly problematic in terms of ethics, and it's highly problematic in terms of the growing rift of inequality that we see around the world.
The Conservative Party conference kicked off on Sunday in Manchester and it runs until Wednesday. Boris travelled by train and was spotted jogging in his work shirt through the city. He also found time to speak to Andrew Marr, but Andrew wasn't happy with Boris's claim about wages growing.
The Office of National Statistics, the ONS, your own body, says that wages are not keeping pace with inflation.
Wages are finally going up, and about time too.
Well, that's not what the numbers show.
No, that is what the numbers show.
Pressurised on whether or not he'd raise taxes further, he wasn't exactly ruling it out.
I can tell you that you have no fiercer and more zealous opponent of unnecessary tax rises than me. What we will not do is be irresponsible with the public finances. And you mentioned Margaret Thatcher.
Are you going to do it again?
What Margaret Thatcher...
Are you going to do it again?
If I can possibly avoid it, I do not want to raise taxes again.
He then spoke to Sky News, where he didn't have much joy trying to convince us that Christmas won't be cancelled, as the struggles with supply chains, energy and carbon dioxide continue.
On Christmas, let me tell you this Christmas will be considerably better than last Christmas.
Well, that was a low bar, because you cancelled it last time.
With the conviction of Sarah Everard's killer on Thursday, there's been a wave of outrage over the lack of vetting in the Met Police that allowed him to continue to serve as an officer. Conflicting advice about what women should do if stopped by a lone policeman, which included wave down a bus, hasn't helped matters. And Kim McGuinness, Northumbria Police and Crime Commissioner, says the whole thing has been really badly handled.
I think those messages that have come out from the Met this week have been completely tone deaf. And I think one of the things that strikes me is it has been a long time coming.
Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham says the Met have been entirely tone deaf and that the responsibility lies with men and boys to change their behaviour.
Any answer to this issue that begins with the words women should or women must is, in my view, the wrong answer. This is an issue that starts with men and boys, and that is where attention should go.
Joe Biden's been struggling to get his legislative agenda through Congress. There are 2 major bills, a $1 trillion infrastructure bill and a larger $3.5 trillion plan to rebuild America. Joe went to Congress to meet with Democrats on Friday, and he says they'll get there.
It doesn't matter whether it's in 6 minutes, 6 days, or 6 weeks. We're going to get it done.
And Democratic Congresswoman AOC, who wore a tax the rich dress to the Met Gala, says that even if it's not the headline amount they wanted, there are still ways to get the bills passed.
I think that one of the ideas that's out there is fully fund what we can fully fund, but maybe instead of doing it for 10 years, you fully fund it for 5 years.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Jurgen Klopp has thoughts on vaccines and Dave Grohl is telling stories. Right after this.
You're listening to the Smart 7. If you're enjoying it, you might also like the Smart 7 Ireland edition. Just search and follow us on your favourite podcast platform. Sunday saw the London Marathon back with 40,000 runners charging through the streets. The race was won by Ethiopian Sise Lema, his first major race win in a time of 2 hours and 4 minutes. Your humble reporter here finished in 4 hours and 10 minutes, and an honourable mention is required for this spectator who greeted former Health Secretary Matt Hancock as he jogged past.
Matt Hancock, you shagger!
In the Premier League, all 20 clubs played this weekend, with Chelsea beating Southampton 3-1 on Saturday to top the table. Man City and Liverpool played out a thrilling 2-2 draw on Sunday, but Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp went viral, less for his football management and more for his no-nonsense thoughts on vaccinations.
A little bit like drink driving. We all probably were in a situation where we had a beer or two and thought we still could drive. But after law, we are not allowed to drive anymore, so we don't drive. But this law is not there for protecting me, it's there for protecting all the other people, and we accept that as a law.
We've seen a lot of Dave Grohl in the last week as he starts a speaking tour to promote his new book, The Storyteller. He's popped up on BBC Breakfast, on Channel 4 News, and on Friday night, it was Graham Norton's show's turn. There's no couch anymore because of social distancing, but Dave did have an entertaining story about when his buddy Paul McCartney gave his daughter Harper her first ever piano lesson.
She'd never taken a lesson to play any instrument at that point, and they wrote a song together. The next morning I woke up and I heard her playing the song that they had written the night before. She realized I was watching, and she never played the piano again.
Oh, for God's sake.
The Halloween movies have been around since 1978, when John Carpenter first brought the psycho Michael Myers to our living rooms. There have been 8 sequels, with 2 more on the way, the first of which is called Halloween Kills, and it hits cinemas on October the 15th. It features a lot of the original cast, including Jamie Lee Curtis and Kyle Richards reuniting 43 years later.
Go home now, before he kills us all. When I was in Halloween, I was 8 years old. I didn't know what I was doing until I saw it. And I was like, what on God's green earth? Now, all these years later, the whole town banding together behind Jamie. We are going to get him first.
It's Halloween.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.